All right, this is Jake James and Tori Lee, and we're hanging out in the Slam Dot Studios, and we've got special guest on the line with us right now, Mr. Billy Bob Thornton and J.D. Andrews from the Boxmasters. How are we doing today?
Pretty good. How about you guys?
Good.
Man,
Great, yeah.
we are excellent, excellent. You guys are going to be coming to town on August 9th and playing at the World's Fair Park. Have you guys ever been to our World's Fair Park before?
No, I've been to Knoxville several times, but we never played out there at the park. Here it's pretty cool.
Oh, it's excellent. You'll have to go up and go in our sun sphere that's left over from our 82 World's Fair and get a good look at that.
That's like a ride that makes you dizzy.
Yeah. As soon as you come in, we always tell our bands you gotta come by the sun sphere, and we gotta hear your newest version of Rocky Top.
There you go.
All right, well, Mr.
Billy's an Arkansas fan, so I don't know if he's legally allowed to do that.
Well, when you're in Tennessee, when you're in Knoxville, it's legal.
And I'm sure you'll be, and by that time you'll have to be happy about your Arkansas Razorbacks winning the national championship in baseball.
Well, we'll see about that. I knew they were going to lose it yesterday, so I turned it. We were doing fine, and my wife said, "Well, why are you so upset? They're ahead." I said, "Yeah, no, you don't understand. I'm also a St. Louis Cardinal fan, and I can tell in the third inning if it's going to all go wrong. I just knew something was going to happen yesterday."
Now, your new show, Goliath, second season's already out right now on Amazon Prime.
Oh yeah. It just came out last week, and it's doing very, very well. So we're real happy with that.
Well, since it's a court-based drama, I thought that I would ask you a question or two about whether your character, Billy McBride, would defend a few of your other characters from your other roles.
Okay.
All right, so let's start off with Malvo from Fargo. Would Billy McBride defend Malvo if he had to?
I don't think Malvo would ever need a lawyer.
Yeah, I think he cleans up his messes on his own.
Absolutely.
One of my absolute favorite Christmas movies of all time is The Ice Harvest. So would Billy McBride defend Vic Kavanaugh from The Ice Harvest?
Yeah, I think Billy McBride will take on just about anybody. That's kind of a sketchy one to take on, but I think he'd do it. And I think about halfway through, he would maybe drop the case. I think eventually he'd just say, "Okay, I don't care what my lawyer conscience is supposed to be. I can't do this anymore." But I think he'd try,
I think with Vic Kavanaugh, he could probably talk him right back into defending him again.
Probably so.
So this is all filmed right down there in Venice and an area like that, to where you used to hang out down there, right? Shay J's used to be your stomping ground.
Oh, yeah, I've been going there since the 80s, and I hadn't been there in a long time, so when I first read the first script for Goliath, I was really happy to see it in there. It's like, oh, yeah, I get to go back to Shay J. So, yeah, it's an institution out there in the Santa Monica, Venice area, and it's just a regular old place. That's what people love about it. And we're very happy we shoot out there.
Well, I understand that everything's still like the 1950s, 1959 era motif, but I understand that you're not good with antiques. Does that just catch right at your level of just old enough for you to hang out there?
Oh no, I love America's not that old of a country. I'm cool with our antiques. My antique thing is more about say Scotland in the 1600s or something, that kind of thing.
Oh, the creepy castles.
I'm just not crazy about going into castles, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. I was just sitting there thinking the creepy castle's got to be the way. You and J.D. Andrew teamed up and made Boxmasters in 2007, and you already have 8 studio albums out. It seems like, how can you get any other work done when you guys seem to be all in the studio for the whole time?
Well, that's really the place that we love to be. If we could just record all the time, just write songs and, have a way that people could hear those rather than have to go out and play, that's probably what we would do. Or, we would definitely do more of the recording than playing because, it is a great thing to get out there and play the songs for people and actually see their response. But, we love to be in the studio. And so, really we have another, half a dozen records that are done that just haven't come out yet.
Wow.
Or we kind of go back and we cannibalize pieces of them. And, it's not just, 8 records. Pretty much every single one of them is a double record with, 19 or 20 songs. So this new one in stereo, we kind of put together because we needed a record for the tour, and the other one that we'd finished this year, we wanted to have a little bit more of a promotional push to it. So we kind of put that one aside and finished up in stereo. And, when we started picking songs for it, Billy went, I really like this, 19 or 20 songs. And it's like, all right, cool, let's finish them off. So we did a mad dash sprint to finish all these things up. And, we're really proud. And, this is, one of our favorite records that we've done. And so we're glad to get this one out for everybody.
Well, every time that I hear a band say this is one of their favorite records that came out, it almost seems like it's the same thing with, is it just because it's the newest one, the latest one, you're glad it's done, or do you feel like you've really grown as artists and that's why this is the best one?
Yeah, I just think the more you do it together, the better you get, and the more you become who you really are, So, I mean, we've got records that, we made a record called Providence that's about 4 records ago that's still, maybe my favorite. But this one here is, right on par with it. They're all different. It's kind of hard to compare them anyways, Like, there's some artists who make records that are pretty much, really great records, but they're kind of the same record every time, just, different songs with the very similar feel and similar types of songs, And with us, we kind of jump around a little bit. It's all within the same influences, We're very influenced by the rock and roll of the mid-'60s, late '60s, and Southern California music and Memphis music and the Beatles. So it's always some version of that, but at the same time, we kind of stretch it out in one direction or the other sometimes too. So the records tend to be each a little different.
I really like the cover of Sylvia's Mother you do. That was really upbeat,
thanks.
really good version. Were you more inspired by Shel Silverstein on that, or Dr. Hook, or both of them?
Well, I first heard that record on KAAY in Little Rock, which is a station near where I grew up. They had a show late at night for underground music, and the host was Clyde Clifford, and it was called Beaker Street.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing Sylvia's Mother on that program when I was, a teenager.
Wow.
And I don't know why the song struck me, and I'd always wanted to record it, but, you're not going to beat what those guys did ever.
No.
And I thought, well, how can we just do our own version of what they do? And since at the time we were doing a lot of sort of really up-tempo sort of rockabilly stuff, we thought, well, you know what? Let's do more of a just really up-tempo rockabilly version of this song. And that's kind of how that came about. And we actually pretty much only play original music live. We may do one song, the cover that people have heard, but we play original music. But we do play Sylvia's Mother quite a bit live.
Well, it sounds absolutely amazing.
It's a great version.
And I tell you, with your Boxmasters and the sound that you guys are taking from that mid-'60s era, and, of course, the Memphis sound that's in it, you've completely just changed it to where even if the name wasn't Rockabilly, I think they would have to change it to that after you started singing, wouldn't they?
I guess that's true. The name gives me away, right?
Yes, it does, sir. Well, Mr. Billy Bob and JD, Andrew, thank you guys so much for joining us on the line. I got one more question before you go. It seems like sometimes bands just never know when they made it. And I feel like you guys have already passed that point because you had to have made it already because you guys have the Boxmasters graphic novel comic book. What was that like getting to put that together?
Yeah, that was this kid that was a terrific kid who really knew what he was doing on that. We had very little to do with it. He asked us if he had our blessing to do it, and we absolutely did, because when we were growing up, we used to get all the Beatles paraphernalia, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like magazines or little models you put together or Beatle wigs or whatever, and we loved that idea. So we thought having a graphic comic novel about us would be, probably the closest we'll ever get to having a Beatle item.
Nope.
So we better do it.
Man, I think it's right up there with one of the coolest things ever, having a comic book, of course, winning awards for Goliath, it being in the movies, and now you're getting to tour around and being the actual rockabilly in a rockabilly band. I think that you've checked all the boxes off, Mr. Billy Bob Thornton.
Well, I
we can always
appreciate
find more
that.
boxes.
Find more boxes. Hey, that's the words to live
More
by.
boxes to check,
We really appreciate it, and we're all going to try to check off more boxes also. When you guys come in town for August 9th, do you think we can get you to stop by the studio and hang out with us?
Yeah, get hold of these rascals, whoever it is you talk to, and tell them we'd love to come by.
All right, thank you so much. The J.D. Andrews and Billy Bob Thornton from the Boxmasters. 8 albums for you to go check out. Thank you all so much for being with us, and we can't wait to come and see you guys on August the 9th. We're going to jump back into some music, some traffic, some weather, and we'll be right back here on The Morning After on 94Z.